Hello, Aquarius. Welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. All right. Tonight we have the 10 of Discs, which is all about wealth. Okay. So we know that the discs or the coins or the pinnacles, they are related to the earth element. So this is dealing with that Malkuthian sphere. This is the material world. This is like where we wake up usually, right? In the morning, or if you're, maybe you get up in the evening. But this is that physical based reality. Okay, so what does this mean? Maybe you're getting that job you've always wanted. Maybe you finally are hitting those goals that you've been working so hard to get. Maybe this is a situation where you're coming into a good amount of money. But it doesn't have to just be money. This could be resources. This could be, something to do with the household. Maybe you have a business, like you have a business. Maybe you're getting a lot of clients, you're, winning the bids that you're putting out and so on and so forth. So overall, a really, really wonderful energy to start with. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to get to the tea leaves now. So let's turn this thing. And I have a new setup here. In my studio, I have been soundproofing. And so everything's a little bit different in the behind the scenes part of my desk here in my studio. And you'll have to bear with me because I'm already out of sorts usually. I just have a hard time being in a human body sometimes. I'm very clumsy and so on. But now having this new setup, and I have more wires and I have more tripods, and so it's a little intimidating and also like a maze kind of. Okay, let's see. We're going to go ahead and check out these tea leaves. And I want to go ahead and say thank you so much for deciding to click on this reading today. It really means so much to me. And it is a huge honor to be able to bring these divinations to you. And let's get started. So in the middle here, it looks like we have a person. You can see the head. Here is the upper body. Here's the lower body. It looks to me like maybe wearing a dress or a robe or something kind of, poofy at the bottom there. And then next to them, it looks like a child. Okay, and this child is holding some kind of toy, it looks like. And over here, it looks like we have a person who is in a seated position. Now, I also see that it looks like we have a toothbrush, and I'm just looking at it this way for myself. But you can see kind of, it looks like a handle and then maybe like the little brush part up there. We also have a person over here. You can see the head, the body's here, arm raised, holding on to a giant lizard. It looks like a monitor even. One of those big, what are those called? The dragons, right? But they look like little dinosaurs. And it looks like this person is running with this lizard. We also have a fish, and it looks like we have a pig down here wearing a little hat. You can see here would be the head. Here's the body, the little legs and tail, and it looks like it has a hat on. So let's go ahead and kind of decipher some of this. So up here, it really, to me, reads as a mother and child, father far away. Now, the father could be there in the physical because he is in the scene, but he's very small and he seems very separate. So maybe this is somebody who is emotionally unavailable. They've closed themselves off from everybody else in the family. It feels very much like it's this team right here, and then there's that guy over there. Okay. Now, this could be a dynamic that you're familiar with. This might be maybe how your relationship went. Maybe, when you were raising your kids. This could be you're the child here, and these are your parents, and this is kind of how you grew up. But I do feel like there is a disconnect to some degree with the masculine, okay? I feel like this is maybe an area. And let me just say, don't we all have parent wounds to work on, right? I'm not singling you out. Just know, I'm not singling you out at all. We all have issues, right? So I do feel like this is maybe one of the things that you're really focused on in your healing process, your individuation process. And that is helping grow and heal the masculine aspects of self, okay? And you might be a woman saying, I'm not a masculine woman. I don't really consider myself masculine at all. Well, I will argue, and this is because, greatly because I guess I would call myself a Jungian. I don't really like to align myself with any certain thing, but I would say I am a Jungian, and within this paradigm, all people, male, female, otherwise, contain feminine, masculine, and the vast spectrum between the two, right? And so we are in our different archetypes, and we do contain all of the archetypes. In our different archetypes, in our different roles that we play, in the personas that we've crafted, sometimes we are a little more masculine, a little less feminine. Maybe we're way feminine in another place, I know for myself, I change in different roles. And so even within the roles that I play out every day, I shift within those. Sometimes, I am very, Paul Bunyan up in here, outside doing the yard work, cutting logs, and, very tough. But then there are other times, these are very stereotypical ideas of what it is to be masculine, by the way, which is silly anyhow. But I do feel like, this is a consideration I think that you've had, is that maybe you have had a difficult or complicated relationship with the masculine, and not only within self, but maybe even with people in your life, right? Or maybe you've steered away from certain kinds of masculinity. But I feel like this is a place where you're really looking at self. And I think a lot of it stems from probably, those core relationships, dad, grandfather, brothers, friends that you grew up around, your neighbors, grandparents, aunts, uncles, all these people that kind of teach us what humans are, right? Not learning it from movies or from the YouTubes or, whatever, but learning it from the people that we actually encounter. And so I do feel like, this is something that, however you go about it, there's no right or wrong way. But even that you consider this, that you have contemplated it, I feel is immensely brave. Yeah, brave. And you should be proud of yourself because this kind of work is not easy. It's not. And if we do it to completion, or if we, every once in a while think, well, maybe I need to look at this a little bit because, my coping mechanism maybe was not reasonable. The way that I reacted maybe was not how I want to behave. And I need to look at, like, where does some of this stuff come from? Right? And so good for you. I am very proud of you. Now, this person running with the lizard. To me, this said immediately, I am somebody who, and I'm not saying I am me, I'm saying you are. I'm speaking as you. I am Aquarius. I am. I am in control of my lizard brain. I am not somebody who is living in your most base instincts, right? Your survival, your predatory, your will do anything to get ahead kind of vibe. I feel like you have spent a lot of time in your life being very aware that you want to be an ethical person. You want to be somebody who treats other people well. And so this person carrying that lizard, I feel like, that's somebody who is mastering these aspects of self. And if you don't know what it means, the lizard brain is, this is that very core. And I forget even what part of the brain it is. Is it the amygdala? Is that even a thing? I don't know. It's a cool word. But I do know it's a small part of the brain that's like the most primitive, right? It was like the first part that came together when we were evolving. And this is the part of the brain that is kind of that, what we perceive as humans anyway. It's to be emotionless and very instinctual. And some people have a lot of control of this part of themselves, and other people absolutely don't even realize that there is something to control there, right? And they're just doing whatever the heck they feel at any given time, or they are, almost kind of crossing over into that like sociopathic or psychopathic, maybe even, like narcissistic brain's place where their behaviors are being propelled by these instincts of, wanting for things, right? Sustenance, trying to kind of, get as much as they can to build something up. But it is this very kind of, I don't want to say it's inhuman because it's not inhuman. It's actually a part of ourselves that keeps us alive, really. But if we allow it to, really take the wheel, it can get us into some pretty weird places, scary places. So I do feel like that this is really kind of a nod to how important that work has been for you, to unlearn some of those impulses, to just kind of, let it fly, just lean into that feeling, and we all have these moments where we do. I mean, last night I did. I have been on a health journey. I have shared this a couple of times, and I don't want to get into discussing food and dieting and that kind of thing, but I have not been eating lots of processed sugars, okay? Barely at all. And for Mother's Day, I had a carrot cake. And so I had some on Mother's Day. Well, last night, which was not Mother's Day, it was the day after, there's still some cake in the fridge. And I thought, okay, well, I did really well today. And, I met all of my goals and beyond. And I don't like to think like this. I really don't. But anyways, I had a little bit. I gave into that like lizardy part of my brain, knowing that there was like sweetness in the fridge. And, I don't feel bad. No, I don't. I mean, it was kind of like, oh man, Lenore, come on. Right before bed, I'm going to sleep with this in my stomach. But, sometimes these are the things. They just kind of come up and they take hold, and whew, it's not always easy. But what I do feel like this has done for you, your ability to really, rein yourself in, is that you can make money. You're good at making money. You're good at building up like a business. You're good at showing up where you need to be. You're good at doing what you need to do. You're not somebody that just like, oh, I don't feel like going to work today, so I'm going to call in. Never. You're just not that person. Once you get into something, you are consistent. So I feel like this really, it might not feel like that big of a deal to you as I'm saying it. You're like, well, yeah, of course, I'm an adult. Guess what? Not a lot of people feel that way. Not a lot of people are that responsible. I mean, there are plenty, of course, but, it is a rarity to find somebody that just does what they say they're going to do, right? So I do feel like, you have to remember you're a very impressive person. So as you are doing the self-work, I want you to also remind yourself how much self-work you've already done, even if that's not the label you put on it, right? I think in the last 15, 20 years, self-help, or this idea that like we're always supposed to be engaged in some kind of like self-help, self-growth, self-development. It's a newer thing. And if you're young, younger than me anyways, because I'm not very young. More than half my childhood was analog. So I was out there in the world without a phone. Don't worry, I'm not. But there are people, that obviously are younger, and you're growing up in a world where, this is such a huge focus. And I'm telling you, even just 30 years ago, it really was not that big of a focus. People doing self-improvement, as much as they're like doing their job and that kind of thing. So it's a good thing. It can also be very fatiguing, right? So you have to give yourself credit where credit is due. And also, be easy on yourself. I know consistency, pushing through, it's all very important, but it's also important that you're not overdoing. Okay, let's see. I keep reading this as every time I look at it, it looks a little different. Okay, so we're looking up here. We have a person that has two heads right here. So I'm reading this as a person that, oh, look at that big bird too. Look at the bird with the tail. Oh, yes. And somebody's feeding it. Oh, and it's all happy. And then we have this person with two heads up here. We have a little house. Okay, so very cute. And the heart, I love this. We also have a scorpion or a Scorpio person. I wonder if you are married to a Scorpio person, or if you are romantically involved with one. If you have been with a Scorpio, let me know. Is that a good match, like a Aquarius and a Scorpio? I feel like it could be. I feel like you would balance each other out. So anyways, we have the bird being fed. Huge message. There's I feel like a lot of times I'll say, okay, you're going to have a message coming through a dream or a vision or something like this. I feel like you have been actively seeking the message. So maybe you are getting into divining. Maybe you are, seeing a medium. Maybe you're here looking for the message, right? But here it's interesting because I feel like, well, we also have the number 9, and that seems really important. But I feel like you taking an active role seeking instead of just waiting for it to come to you, this is really going to give you such a window into whoever this entity or person is that is trying to get a hold of you through spirit. And I do feel like it is. I feel like it's like some kind of being that is trying to talk to you, and it is coming in through these like angelic airwaves. And I know that sounds really like woo-woo, and maybe it is, but I do feel like this is like a very like sacred interaction. So that's why I'm reserving my judgment or guess that this is a human being that you're talking to, because it doesn't seem like it. It seems like this could be something else, like a guardian angel. And I wonder if you have been looking for your guardian angel, possibly. Maybe you have been doing the work. You've been trying to commune and to have some kind of experience that's maybe visual or auditory, something that feels real. And that's what I'm going to say. It's something that feels real to you, not just kind of like, my imagination got away from me. No, this feels like profoundly authentic. Okay. Now we also have the house up there, and we have the person with 2 heads. So we're looking at, what would be the sacred whole. So we have the masculine, we have the feminine, we also have the union, right? The alchemical marriage or the chemical marriage. And so I do feel like there is a real sense of knowing your anima, knowing your animus. You seem to be somebody that is pretty advanced in your spiritual workings. So maybe a lot of the stuff I've been talking about, you're like, this is really like entry level stuff, Lenor. And maybe it is, I don't know, but it feels to me like you are somebody who has really devoted yourself to this particular work that you're doing. And I don't really know exactly what the system is, but I feel like I just keep hearing this like miracles. And I keep thinking of that, what is that called? A Lesson in Miracles? I can't remember what that book is called. I read part of it, maybe a year and a half ago. And then I started doing some of the coursework just to, check it out. I personally, am what I call a religious spiritual voyeur to some degree. I like to go and experience. I like to be in different traditions and go to different kinds of ceremonies and just really witness people in their grace, people in, the deep work that they're doing. And, I am not a student or initiate of any particular system. And I am not aligned with anything or affiliated with anything besides, I guess, of course, my husband over at Dove and Serpent Tarot. His name is Paul. Go check him out if you have not seen his tarot readings. But I think maybe it's A Course in Miracles. I just can't remember. But I feel like you are somebody maybe similar in that you have always been very drawn to like philosophy and religion and spirituality. And you're not somebody that just kind of believes the first thing you hear. You're very inquisitive. You're very discerning. You are, I wouldn't say cynical, but you know, you're not, nobody's going to get one over on you, not on an Aquarius. So I do feel like there is a sense of whatever system you have really married yourself to here, it must be something that you find quite moving. And I do. And I feel like you are in a place in your life where you are feeling more balanced than you ever have. You are feeling whole, like a whole being. And I also, something about your car. There's something about the car. I am wondering, if there's something going on with it where you're going to have like an unexpected thing that you have to fix. I mean, the cost, that's the thing, is the cost of it. But I feel like it's going to work out in such a way that, like, you know, it's a hassle, but it's not going to break the bank. Okay. So we have, it looks like the name Ernest. EARNST. Okay. EARN. And then there's no, I don't have the S, but I have the T. So something like Ernest, maybe. Maybe it's the name. Oh, there's the S right there. We also have, it looks like a little boat or canoe. And then I'm seeing like a smoking pipe. So I almost wonder if you're going to be going on maybe like a little camping trip, or like a little, you know, maybe you're rafting down the river or doing something out of doors, getting yourself moving away from civilization for a little bit. But I do feel like there's a sense of really like being able to kick your legs up and sit back and relax and really just kind of, you know, let your thoughts kind of leave your mind like clouds in the sky, right? And let them disperse and be on their way. Okay, so we have 3 lucky numbers. Number 85, number 10, 85, 10, and 24. All right. Now we'll end with our Indigo Sage affirmation cards, and I'm just going to flip through here and stop where it feels right. Okay, we have the little beetle, and it says number 7, individuate with love, contemplate how it might be to live as a divine true self beyond the known. Beyond the known. All right, Aquarius. Well, I just want to tell you real quick, I love you, I love you, I love you. And I thank you so much for spending this time with me. It's always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. If you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I'd love to hear from you. Other than that, I'm going to say I love you. Again, I love you, I love you. And we will talk in just a few days. Good night.